Hello, my name is Andy and I am the village idiot and a man with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. Welcome back to northeast Derbyshire. Now, today I've got one for you which surprised even me before I came here. It looks on the map to be very residential, but it does have quite a lot to look at, including not just one, but at least three, there might even be more, of these little ponds slash lakes. And they're not far away from the actual residential areas, because as you can see, there's some houses here. So where are these then? Well, they're in a place called Wingerworth. Wingerworth is one of the larger villages on the outskirts of Chesterfield. Its population, according to the 2011 census, was 6,533. Of that population, 98.3% are white British, whilst the rest are a mix of ethnicities. Wingerworth is 3 miles southwest of Chesterfield, 15 miles south of Sheffield, and 150 miles north of London. Tupton, Claycross, Grassmoor and Ashover are nearby settlements. Wingerworth is first recorded in the Domesday Book of 1086 as a community of 14 houses of freemen. In the book, it's also called Wingreurde, an Anglo-Saxon name meaning King's Land. For the bulk of the Middle Ages, the lords of Wingerworth Manor were the Brailsfords. After their stewardship, the lordship descended in a relatively uncertain manner to the Curzons of Kedleston Hall. It would pass to the Hunloke family, whose ancestral home was Wingreurde Hall. Wingreurde Hall would be demolished in 1927. It was built on an elevated site and completed in 1724 by an unknown architect. So behind me here is the Barley Mow pub. You can't quite see it, it's not quite in shot. And behind that is a massive housing estate, and I'll be driving around that later in the car with the camera on the dashboard. The house was in the rare style of understated Baroque, peculiar to England. The rectangular building was on 3 floors raised above a semi-basement, thus causing the principal rooms to be on a piano nobile, reached from a broad straight external staircase. The hall was used as a Roundhead garrison during the English Civil War, and the gardens of Wingerworth Hall were designed by Humphrey Repton. By the end of the 19th century, the Hunloke's fortune was severely depleted and the house was let to tenants. In 1920, it was offered for sale. You know, it might be a misty, grey, murky day, but the sun is trying to break through those clouds and you still get a decent view over this part of Derbyshire, even when the weather is not all that desirable. Failing to find a buyer wishing to reside in the house, the Hunloke family sold it to a demolition contractor and its interiors were stripped and sold. The 2 servants' buildings and the gatekeeper's lodge on Hockley Lane remain as private dwellings. Even though it's now demolished, I was still able to find a picture of it for today's Picture Bit. The Hunloke name is seen in many places around the village. Up to 1920, the village economy was based largely on mixed farming, but with important contributions from industry, small scale at first. In particular, this was coal and ironstone mining, iron smelting, red lead manufacture, stone quarrying, and woodland exploitation. Larger scale coal and ironstone mining started in the mid-19th century at the Avenue and Spate Hill pits, but had ceased altogether by 1930, except for extensive open cast working since the Second World War. These days, Wingerworth is less about industry and much more about residential areas. The average house in the village comes in at a cost of £271,000. The parish boundaries cover quite an extensive area, a total of 14.1 square kilometres, which gives it a population density of 501.7. As well as the village, the boundaries cover the Hardwick Wood area too, an extensive wooded area to the southwest of the main village, which is extremely difficult to traverse even by car. For this reason, there's no shots of it, but there is a picture of it coming later. So what's Wingerworth like in terms of amenities? Well, most of them are clustered all together in one area, and I'm stood on a basketball court, which is next to some tennis courts, and a bowling green, and a cricket club, and a medical centre over there. Let's have a look at them all in turn. Sports and football is played in Wingerworth, and there are several local football teams competing in district leagues. Wingerworth has a football pitch, a cricket field, several tennis courts, and a bowling green in the main park. There are many clubs and groups in the village for all ages, including the 3rd Wingerworth Scout Group for young people aged between 6 and 14, and the Wingerworth Wobblers Running Club. Martial arts clubs are also run within Wingerworth for people of all ages to participate in. There's a large medical centre here, and just recently Dr. Om Prakash Chola, a well-known Wingerworth doctor who retired in 2018 after working at the centre for the past 25 years, passed away on the 2nd of January after being diagnosed with coronavirus. There are 3 buses that call through Wingerworth. All of them run to Chesterfield in one direction, and in the other, the 55 goes to Hena, the 55A to Alfreton, and the 63 to Matlock. Wingerworth has 2 primary schools, these being Deer Park Primary School and Hunloke Park Primary School. Both have around 200 to 300 pupils drawn from the area and surrounding villages. Wingerworth also has 2 preschools and 2 nurseries in New Road Nursery and Hunloke Park School for children aged between 2 to 4 years. Next we see the library and parish rooms, or parish hall as it's sometimes known, owned by Wingerworth Parish Council since 1922. Throughout its history, the parish hall has been in continuous use as an important community facility and centre of the village's cultural life. The parish hall is the venue for all parish council meetings and committee meetings, and it's also used as a polling station for elections and as a venue for local residents to hold events. Now to All Saints Church, which is a Grade 1 listed parish church dating from the 12th century with elements from the 13th, 14th and 15th centuries. This was restored between 1903 and 1905 at a cost of £370, which is equivalent to just over £40,000 today. It was rededicated by the Bishop of Southwell, Sir Edwin Hoskins, in 1905. A new east window by Clayton and Bell was added in memory of the Honourable Adelaide Augusta Wilhelmina Hunloke. The font was replaced and the nave and aisles were repewed. More recently, it was extended between 1963 and 1964 by the architects Naylor, Sale and Widows. The original organ here was by Brindley and Foster and was installed in 1867. In 2006, this was replaced by a new organ by Henry Groves and Son. All around Wingerworth you'll find a series of lakes. Some are used for fishing now, but throughout history they've served a different purpose. These are artificial ponds which provided water power for many activities and/or leisure pursuits. I visited 3 of them whilst here. These first two, currently in shot now, are close to Deer Park Primary School, the medical centre, and most of the amenities we've just seen. These are called Island Pond and Wall Pond, although Wall Pond is sometimes also known as Lodge Pond. This one, the largest of the lakes I chose to visit, is known by two names, Smithy Pond and Wingerworth Lido. Iron was smelted first in a bloomery here at Smithy Pond before 1600, hence the name, before later being smelted in blast furnaces at Nethermore and Furnace Hill. Later furnaces treating Wingerworth ironstone were situated on Storforth Lane, outside of the parish. The pond would remain though, and Smithy Pond became a swimming pool, known as the Wingerworth Lido, in 1934. These days it's a quiet area of the village, much like the other ponds, and has a pub next to it named appropriately Smithy Pond. This is not the largest of the lakes. The largest is Stubbing Great Pond, which I didn't visit whilst here, but you will find it in the picture bit. It has a notable dam that dates from around 1700. Coke and byproducts were made on a large scale here at the Avenue. This is the same Avenue site that was mentioned in the Grassmore, Hasland and Winsick episode. For some reason, my sources for that one listed the Avenue as being part of Grassmore Country Park, and I only have theories as to why. The site was in fact here from 1956 to 1992, using coal brought from elsewhere. Once one of Europe's most polluted sites, the Avenue is now an award-winning parkland and wildlife reserve. The 90-hectare former coking works has benefited from significant investment by Homes England and its predecessors over the last 20 years, with the site transferring to the Land Trust management in 2019. Popular with walkers and cyclists, the Avenue is a brilliant place to keep physically fit and enjoy the mental health benefits that spending time in well-managed green space can bring. So yeah, I don't know why the source material I used for Grassmore, Hasland and Winsick mentioned the Avenue coking works to do with that parish when it was here, out towards Wingerworth. It's between Wingerworth and Grassmore. That's probably why, actually, thinking about it, it's probably because it's between the two. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense really, because it's here, it belongs to Wingerworth, it doesn't belong to Grassmore, Hasland and Winsick. That's just how it is. At least we found the right place now. Now, did someone say Wingerworth picture bit? Really? Go on then if you insist. To finish with, we're still within the Avenue, but we're at a different part of it, a little further south. This is the Avenue Washlands, another of the Land Trust sites. A nature reserve, this neighbours the Avenue Country Park. The reserve is home to a diverse range of thriving wildlife. This wetland reserve consists of newly created reed bed, marsh, ponds and grassland in the valley of the River Rother. The new habitat was created in 2005, and a good variety of wildlife has been attracted to add to the species that were already well established here. Further restoration work on the northern part of the site in 2012 led to the creation of a further 40 hectares of nature reserve. Species such as water voles, which are nationally declining, have found a home here. There are also little egrets, great crested newts, grass snakes, kingfishers, barn owls, lapwings, skylarks and little ringed plovers. People can enjoy great views of these species and many more from the special viewing platforms all around the site. From the reserve you can walk from Wingerworth into Grassmore by crossing the railway line. This is the same line we saw in the Tupton, Claycross and Stretton episodes, the Midland Main Line. You can take this footbridge from the reserve across to Mill Lane at Grassmore over the railway line. And to finish this one off, I'm stood outside North East Derbyshire District Council's offices. They're located here in Wingerworth as well, which is funny because I thought they were always located in Chesterfield, unless they've moved to here. So this, maybe this is a new site, I don't know, but I always thought they were in Chesterfield Borough, but apparently not. They're here. They are actually in North East Derbyshire. They are in Wingerworth. And speaking of North East Derbyshire, there's just 2 left now in the district. The south of the district is complete now. I just have 2 left up in the north. Those are Holmesfield and Dronfield, and you'll have to tune in next week to find out which one of those 2 I'm going to be doing next. But until then, I've been Andy, and this has been the parish of Wingerworth. I've been the village idiot, and I'm out.